Having to fight back to try to get the forced game 3 underway. There is a Dreepy. He's got a
just speaks
draw power. And of course, this will be followed up with a Lillie's Determination. The best supporter card in the format by a pretty wide margin. Shuffling your hand into the deck and getting 6 cards, such a strong effect. How about getting 8 on these opening turns where there are no prize cards taken yet?
Yeah, such a nice find. And this is a question that I had seeing these cards in hand. The Dark Energy for the Munkidori or the Fire for the Dreepy. And wants to have that answer of attacking early if necessary with either Dragon Headbutt or leaning into that turn 3 Dragapult.
And look at the difference in setup here. 3 Dreepy, an energy already attached, a hand shuffled into the deck, and still 8 more cards to work with for Andrew and Jack. Only Dunsparce. Only a Dreepy with a fire energy. I mean, that's fine, but we know he fetched out a Drakloak last turn. He'll at most see 2 cards with a Recon Directive, hoping to have himself a supporter available to make his turn 2 a bit stronger.
It almost has to have supporters at this point, as he didn't see the Pokemon played down and didn't see the items used.
Here is a Crushing Hammer in hand for Andrew Hedrick. Is now the time to lay down the hammer. Looks like the answer is no. Gonna wait to see how Jack commits his cards in future turns before committing to the discard effect. There is the evolution of a Dreepy. Jack perhaps just debating the bench of Munkidori. Looks like it will come down into play, and Lillie's Determination does hold off on using Risky Ruins. Yeah, what do you make of the Risky Ruins line for each of these players? You know, when is the ideal time to get it set up and damage your own board so that you can use Munkidori?
I think it depends on how you feel about your setup. If you already have the Dreepies played down, then you can use this card to your advantage. But with Budew in play, giving additional damage counters to your opponent doesn't seem exactly like the right line for Andrew, so he doesn't want to go down that path. And similarly for Jack, he doesn't have enough Dreepy in play to really feel comfortable with that card just yet. But it will have a pretty big impact moving forward in this game, just setting up those little damage counters here and there and throwing off the math.
Jack does find himself another Dreepy, which is very fortunate since he is item locked, cannot play that Buddy-Buddy Poffin he found in hand. Also gets himself another Lillie for the next turn. He also has Dragapult EX in his hand, so could see a Phantom Dive from Jack in theory.
Did you see the
next turn?
One piece that was missing, though? Andrew did. As soon as there wasn't an energy played that turn, went straight after this fire energy on the board. If you can deny that resource, it could be pretty devastating, really slow things down.
Andrew will get a Darkness Energy established onto Munkidori. No damage to generate just yet. And we'll go with the Judge, having each player shuffle their hand into the deck and get 4 cards apiece. Judge plus Budew's Itchy Pollen, that's just a mean combo.
Yeah, and then only 1 Drakloak played down. Your opponent missed an energy on the last turn. You're just denying Jack of ways to start to build this board up. And when you're stuck with the Dunsparce in the active spot, just waiting to either evolve and shuffle this damage away or find the Dark Energy so you can move the damage for Itchy Pollen back over. You just feel helpless waiting for that turn. And that is gross! You can't keep getting away with this!
Wow, 2 Drakloak found from the Judge. That is even more cards seen now off the Recon Directives, and that is more opportunities to find another Crushing Hammer. 1 is in the prize cards, 1 has been played. There are still two hanging around in the deck.
I mean, that is beautiful for Andrew. Everything you wanted to find there. 3 Recon Directives ready to roll, and even if you don't find the Crushing Hammer, he finds the Dunsparce to go along with it.
Is it worth digging for it? It looks like he will go with it. 1, 2, 3 cards added. No Crushing Hammer found just yet.
But this gets close to spots where he'll have answers to that energy without the Crushing Hammer. The bench space opening up, the Crispin in hand, the boss's orders. There's going to be either ways to put the pressure on with the damage counters of a Dragapult, or using the Risky Ruins and Boss's Orders to take a KO with the Dragon Headbutt at some point.
Itchy Pollen once again. Jack unable to play item cards on his turn and off of his
Ooh, that's the one you want.
Not too bad. Lillie's Determination, nice to find. He's also got himself Dragapult EX, but he's going to choose to not put it into play just yet.
Yeah, you're forcing yourself at that point to have the Dudunsparce and the Psychic Energy to go along with this. You lose out on the Recon Directive draws, and you want the math to work out. If your opponent's going to attack in with this Budew, make them attack 3 times so that Munkidori can push that damage over, take the KO, and then you can have a clean shot into one of these Pokemon, either clearing a Drakloak or a Dark Energy Munkidori, which can be one of the more valuable pieces.
8 cards off of Lillie's. Jack looking for a little bit of aid. Another Drakloak would be a welcome sight. Dragapult EX and a Psychic Energy perhaps an option as well. The Dunsparce would allow him to move his active. And
oh man, no energy to go along with his hands.
Still a couple chances to look though. Recon Directive does find him a basic Dark.
That might be the best energy to find here, is you don't overcommit to one of these copies of Drakloak, and Munkidori never really gets targeted in the early stages, but you want that immediate answer to this third Itchy Pollen.
Yes, and that would provide it as Adrenabrain moves 3 damage counters, up to 3 damage counters from your side to your opponent's. So should Andrew go with yet another Itchy Pollen, he would have to consider that option, as Jack would have it available, the ability to bounce it over and take a free KO.
Andrew's deck really wants him to evolve every turn, as this is another Dragapult EX added to the hand. He's not going to listen, though. Still plenty of cards to be drawn.
Recon Directive number 1. Looking at the top 2, sees himself Crispin, it looks like, Night Stretcher as well. Taking a quick peek at the prize cards, the notes he's made. He did prize a basic Dark, but other than that, it's not too bad for his Crispin numbers. He's got another Drakloak here, number 2. There is a couple Lillie's Determination offered up. And still one more Recon Directive to use.
Yeah, really starting to build this hand now post-Judge. He's found a lot of resources, but there is no real initiative right now.
He did find the Buddy-Buddy Poffin. I wonder if perhaps he was looking for Risky Ruins so he could start to generate a little bit of damage by bringing out his Dunsparce over and over again. Did not find it, so we'll have to just settle for getting it in play without any damage counters.
This has been pretty nice for these players that previously didn't love having to play so many copies of Buddy-Buddy Poffin after that initial turn of Search. You didn't have much use for it, but with the reload of Dudunsparce, you just keep finding this Dunsparce over and over again in these spots. But he's considering foregoing it this time.
Yeah, perhaps failing it. Maybe it does become a target next turn for Jack. Oh, is Andrew going to go aggressive here and attack now? So we do see the Dragapult EX evolving. He's got Crispin. He's got second Munkidori.
Yeah.
Does play 3 Darkness Energy, so even with the 1 prize, he's still got 1 available. And this is where not having to discard an energy to retreat into the Budew gets him ahead in attachment effectively, where now he can pretty easily and comfortably get a second Munkidori established.
Andrew's thinking a few turns ahead here now with the difference between the Fire and the Psychic Energy. There's a Night Stretcher in the hand, a Psychic already available, so what do you do after a few turns where maybe this Dragapult is to fall?
Making sure that Crispin is still alive. Play in the future. You don't want to pull all of one type of energy out to where Crispin effectively becomes a very costly energy search. There's that attachment of the basic Dark, and now a Psychic could be brought down and will indeed be retreat into Dragapult EX. And Andrew is going to strike first here. Phantom Dive for a KO, or will it just be the Jet Headbutt here, avoiding putting damage in play on Jack's side?
Yeah, really wise here to not give that additional ammunition to the Munkidori Dark Energy. didn't have the resources to remove these energies, so pretty big spot now for Jack. Could find a lot of help here with Recon Directive, supported for the turn, put some pressure on to the other side, but Andrew is so well prepared with the Munkidoris. This could even be a spot where you just send all 6 damage counters into Budew and move on.
With this attack, Andrew has unlocked all of Jack's items here, so he's able to finally make something happen and search through a little bit more of his deck. Poké Pad finding a replacement Dunsparce. Getting that into play. He's got a third Drakloak as well available. He's got Lillie's Determination, and perhaps more impactfully, he does have his A-Spec Unfair Stamp waiting in the hand.
Just one piece missing there is some damage counters to work alongside this. If there were the Munkidori Dark Energies to go along with it, then maybe you could target down one of those Drakloaks along with this Unfair Stamp and really start to limit some of the card draw on Andrew's side of the board, but still should feel pretty content with this setup so far.
Another Poké Pad does get another Munkidori set up and established. Yeah, I'm curious to see where Jack is going with this sequence here. Is kicking off things with the use of Recon Directives, not playing a Lillie's Determination or Unfair Stamp before using these cards.
It may just be looking for one extra piece, and with the Crispin, you could now have the Psychic Energy for the active, the Dark Energy for the Munkidori. You're not losing the war, and then you just bank on Unfair Stamp finding you some help, and most importantly, starting to limit some options from Andrew's side.
Yeah, I guess Crispin was the card he was aiming to find here. He does also have Boss, so he could, you know, potentially have, I guess there's no Dreepy targets for him to just jet headbutts. If he wants a Psychic Energy, it has to be through the Crispin, but he will still be able to disrupt and go with that use of the Unfair Stamp here, should he want to. And he can make a play here where he leaves Andrew with no damage to play with as well, because he can knock out the Budew and he can stack all 6 damage counters on it to try to protect his own bench from being countered by Andrew.
Yeah, that's where I went initially too, and then you remember Dragapult still holds on to plenty of those damage counters, but it doesn't feel as good to move those damage counters away. But do you instead for Jack then start to spread 2/2/2 to make the Munkidoris a little less efficient?
Less impactful in the future.
I feel like the bench space there could be pretty notable too, as both players have to lean into this double Munkidori situation. There is no room to start to rotate with the Dunsparce or even play that Fezandipiti at some point for help.
So only 2 cards available now for Andrew Hedrick. That'll be 200 damage onto his active Dragapult and 30 onto each of the Drakloak on his bench. Now a draw for turn is a Poké Pad. Not much help now.
Oh, yeah, that hand does not have much going for it. The Risky Ruins in there when there's no way to play down Pokemon at this spot. But this is why you keep those Drakloaks around. 2 Recon Directives. Munkidoris can preserve the hit points, but once you can sink all the damage, it's going to come right back very soon.
Thinning out a Drakloak from the Poké Pad before the use of Recon Directives, increasing his chances to find the cards he is looking for. The question here now will be for Andrew, what Pokemon does he want to target over on Jack's bench? Of course, the plenty of options available could take care of a Munkidori, could get rid of that draw power from Dunsparce, could even go after the energy on the Drakloak. Lots of different avenues. Recon Directive number 1 finds him the Night Stretcher. Recon Directive number 2 does not find a supporter card. Stalling out a little bit here is Andrew Hedrick. Jack's Unfair Stamp doing its intended function.
This doesn't seem like the greatest spot at this point. Even an energy attachment onto this Drakloak seems underwhelming. Could easily be targeted by the following Dragapult. I mean, It seems crazy, but at some point, do you start to consider using your Munkidori? You can put pressure on Jack to then have to retreat this Dragapult through the confusion, evolve one of his Drakloaks unwillingly, and
Yet
attack
another
him
way
that way.
yet another way to pressure the energy cards,
Right.
forcing retreats like that.
You have this bank of damage that you can go back to at some point as the Dragapult sits there with 200 and Psychic Energy's going down on the Munkidori here.
Wow, what a call out here. That may be his best path. Try to slow down Jack. Force him to flip a coin to attack or retreat an energy off. We're going to see the use of some Adrenabrains here, protecting these two Drakloak initially. See where those damage counters are going to be placed. Could just load it all up on the active, perhaps. No way for him to take a KO just with the use of these damage counters, as Dunsparce does have 70 hit points.
Yeah, maybe going 6 on the Drakloak with the energy could work out at this spot. There's just the one Dark Energy Munkidori, so you're not losing the war just yet. And then you force your opponent to have to move that damage. But looks like trying to work out the math with the Mind Bend plus KO range later on.
And he's actually just going to take the knockout, not even going with the Mind Bend right now.
Okay, and this does a similar thing where you're removing a little bit of that draw, you take away one of those energies, and you still have a chance to take a knockout later on if there's damage left on board with either the Munkidori or finding that Crispin for Drakloak.
Oh, and it's looking like we're having a stoppage in discussion here. I think that there may be a pace of play penalty being issued at this point here for Andrew. And if I'm not mistaken, Kyle, in an earlier stream game, going to continue Jack now needing to take 2 less prize cards. That is going to totally flip this game on its head.
And if Jack didn't have some pretty difficult prize cards here, there could have been a game-closing play with the 30 damage moved onto the Drakloak, 30 damage moved onto the Budew, and then a KO on all 4 Pokemon here. But he actually prized double Dark Energy this time around.
Yeah, cannot pull off a double Munkidori play right now. What a swing. What a change in this game. We've laid it out already. Pretty straightforward here now for Jack to be the one to close this out. I believe Andrew has actually taken 2 prize cards now. So with the KO he took on the Drakloak this past turn. So he was lining himself up to be the aggressor to be able to close this game out.
Yeah, and imagine now for Jack, as he has a chance to continue these draws and see some more answers. Some energy onto that Drakloak seemingly would be a checkmate in this spot. It would require
some
Andrew
crushing hammers
to really let them fly.
Yeah, yeah, and that could be, I mean, honestly, should Jack, maybe Jack just, well, it's kind of tough. I was going to say,
do you forego so that you can turn it all into a Crispin play?
Yeah, but then if you Crispin, you can't boss, of course, right?
Yep, it's a double-edged sword.
Andrew could actually get out of this situation maybe by evolving both Drakloak next turn. So there's not a super, I guess the Munkidoris, it requires the boss, right? Where if you evolve Drakloaks, then there can't be any sort of double Munkidori play from Jack on the next turn to clean off the bench.
Sure. I think the answer lies in if Crushing Hammers can target down Dark Energy on Munkidori and just keep that card off the board, take advantage of the fact that Jack hasn't played any other Dark Energies in this spot, and maybe the use of that ace-spec at some point too.
Extremely tight situation. Andrew, of course, an extremely smart player, so he'll, you know, adapt to this new information of his opponent needing 2 less prize cards to win the game here and make his plays adjusted accordingly. But this is Jack now jumping very far ahead. A 3 prize card turn, now needing to just take 1 prize card to win the game, and
I'm not ready to call this one over. Not even close. This hand could get the job done. There's an Unfair Stamp. Risky Ruins double basic Pokemon in this spot with the Munkidoris. You push 20 damage counters over twice to this Drakloak. You could clear both of these Pokemon off the board and leave your opponent with a 2-card hand.
Yeah.
It's just the Budew waiting around at that point, but I think you can manage. The problem is then if you open up these 2 bench spaces with the attacks, Risky Ruins right back with Dark Energies is waiting for Jack on the Budew.
He's going to need Crispin to piece this combo together, as there are no energy cards currently on this Drakloak in his active spot. He does find a Crushing Hammer, which could remove a Darkness Energy from Munkidori.
This is so big.
There's the flip,
wow.
and it is a heads. Andrew now having the option to remove any energy from Jack's side of the board and has a debate now. Which one will it be?
If the likelihood of the Crispin is there, then you just have to remove this Dark Energy, and he is going to go for it here.
Here comes a Night Stretcher. This can bring back a basic Pokemon, and he'll be playing his oh no, will it bring back the Dragapult EX here, actually?
I mean, the guarantee of this Pokemon seems nice. You have a lot of other basic Pokemon that you can lean on at this point, and do you really need the follow-up here? If you take these 3 prize cards, you will have an answer.
Kyle,
Unfair Stamp's coming down.
He has to find 2 basic Pokemon, one of which cannot be Fezandipiti, because Fezandipiti does not take damage from Risky Ruins, and he has to find Crispin off of 5 cards. If he can pull that off, seeing 5 cards, having 3 be the specific ones he needs.
And it can't have a Fez included. It has these 2 spots have to go there. Buddy-Buddy Poffin Crispin could easily get the job done here and put a ton of pressure back over to Jack.
Let's not forget he did prize a Dreepy here as well. Meowth could unlock as well the potential of Crispin.
Real big piece.
Here are the cards. There's Ultra Ball for Meowth.
One more Pokemon.
One more Pokemon.
He didn't find the Pokemon.
He did not get the Pokemon. Perhaps the easiest piece of this equation. He could use Ultra Ball to get Fezandipiti to draw cards, but again, Fezandipiti does not take damage when benched under Risky Ruins.
It's just 10 short at that point of taking advantage of that. You do see the Crushing Hammer added to the hand, so if you were worried about the attack power of that Drakloak on the follow-up, maybe you can remove that energy, force your opponent to have that, but the reload of Drakloak's Recon Directive could be very impactful. I guess if you're worried about the draw support that goes into this, removal of the Dunsparce here with just the 1 copy of Risky Ruins.
He does get another Crushing Hammer. This is another huge flip, and it is another heads. That is going to remove the fire energy, so while he will not be able to KO the Drakloak here, he is making it as difficult as possible for his opponent to piece together a game-winning play.
Counting out the Psychic Energies, 1 on the board with Munkidori, 1 in the discard pile. Wants to make sure that if this is discarded here, the Crispin play still works. Meowth will come down. Crispin is found. Damage counters from the Risky Ruins should likely be pushed over to the Dunsparce at this spot, you'd imagine. And if you take that KO, that's even less draw power for Jack to find a way out here.
Piecing it together is Andrew Hedrick. Out comes Crispin, finding 2 basic energy of differing types. 1 fire, 1 psychic, 1 getting attached from the effect of that supporter now, the other attached for turn from the hand. Down will go this Dragapult EX. Of course, 20 damage bounced over from Andrew's side over to either Dreepy or Dunsparce. Which will it be? The final question here. And which Pokemon will go down, as Andrew will go to just 1 prize card remaining. He's left his opponent with just a 2-card hand to try to piece together a Dragapult attack.
And you have to imagine for Jack, there's so much to consider now. What Pokemon will you even be left with at this stage of the game? Dunsparce will take that damage counter.
Leaving himself with 1 damage counter here. Very smart on Andrew's side as well, so that he can KO a Dreepy next turn easily off the bench, regardless of what his opponent's active Pokemon is. Down will go the active. Down goes Dunsparce. Down to just 1 prize card is Andrew Hedrick.
All right.
What did Jack find from the Unfair Stamp? There is a Meowth EX.
This is crazy. He's so close, as there was a Dark Energy shuffled back in post from the prize cards. So there's actually a Dark Energy in the deck that wasn't there before. That could be found with the Crispin. The Meowth is a card for the Risky Ruins. There's an energy to go along with this. What can be found now? Does the Drakloak have to be the answer?
Gonna look at the top 2 cards here. With this Recon Directive, just needing one prize card to win the game. There is a Poké Pad that gets another Pokemon out.
This is the awkward piece is if you wanted to activate this with Crispin, the double Dark Energy push to the Budew isn't really happening yet, and there's not enough. There's not an attacker in this spot that closes out.
He's going to have to Drakloak again. With the Crispin being drawn, I have to say I am a little surprised to see that Munkidori was the Pokemon pushed into the active spot.
I was trying to find the answer. It's so close to taking the KO on the Budew, but without the Pokemon itself there, you can't work this out.
And Judge as the final card.
I suppose the play was if you promote the Munkidori, you have access to the Dark Energy again through the Night Stretcher. You could play it, move the damage, retreat, and go back to that, but...
He can't even mind bend this active to try to buy a turn. If he was to do that, Andrew would win by just retreating into his own Munkidori, bouncing the damage back over and mind bending himself for the win. I think Jack may be just about out of options here. He's looking through the deck. There's two different energies to grab from the Crispin. He will attach to this active Munkidori. He's going to go for the mind bend, I guess, with this play. And as long as Andrew Hedrick sees the line, he will have game on board. He will be the Los Angeles Regional Champion. And he is going for it. Mind bend, that's 60 damage. Andrew Hedrick drawing for turn. One prize card remaining. And he is gonna line things up here. Two Adrenabrain available. Will bounce them both over to the active. Retreats his Dragapult into Munkidori. Mind bend, takes the KO. And Andrew Hedrick, a 5-time regional champion.
Not only taking out Jack, but also taking out the clock. So much working against him in that spot, but he just waited patiently and used those crushing hammers, and I can't imagine two more impactful hammers for him than those right there.
What